Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Here's today's video. Actually, I'm so excited for this video that I sat down. So I set the camera up, right? I pressed record, sat down, was like this. I'm like, you don't even have the microphone on. You haven't done any intro or anything. I almost opened the beer before doing any of the normal stuff. Yeah, so I'm really excited. It's Lagunitas Waldos. It's the 2024 vintage, I guess, right? Is the right word. Super excited. And I think this happens every time I look at it. It says 11.7% ABV, which I always think to myself, like, that seems higher than last year, but I think that is what this beer comes in at, but maybe it's higher. I'll have to look after the review. But I got my proper glassware, the best glass in the world, just a mason jar. About a whole 6-pack. Doing the channel, I typically, buy just one beer, right, to review. Trogue's Nugget Nectar, I always buy a 4 or 6-pack, depending on what, format I buy. This one, always get, a 6-pack if I can. So I got the last one off the shelf, which was nice. It was in the cooler too, so I could come home and just review it. Nice copper color. Looks a little unfiltered. But yeah, a lot of orange in there. Definitely a copper kind of a thing. 2 fingers ahead. It's very, 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 very light khaki. Pretty compact bubbles. Fills the glass perfectly. It's just such a beautiful looking beer. Let's see about the aroma. Sweet, dank, sweet citrus. Some zest, it's mostly orange juice, and then orange zest, but maybe like a little bit of grapefruit, a little bit of lemon, but it's mostly orange. There's like a confectionery note, like I said, sweet dank, but there's this, it's not quite peach rings, it's somewhere in that realm. You know what kind of reminds me of is like opening up a bag of like gummy bears or something, or specifically Trader Joe's Scandinavian divers or Scandinavian swimmers, whatever the blue gummy. You know what I'm talking about? Trader Joe's. I love those gummies, and I eat more than I should at a time. But yeah, it kind of has like that, like gummy bear kind of gummy candy thing. But yeah, very dank, some pine. I get more dank than pine, but yeah, it smells awesome. Let's get into taste. Cheers. Glad I got a whole 6-pack. Wow. This is great. More pine on the taste than I was getting the aroma, but it still has that sweet dank thing. Definitely orange. It's your West Coast orange. What it reminds me of is I don't know if this is a good descriptor. I was traveling abroad. I was in Spain, and there was a market. One of the people at the market was selling these fruits where they took real fruit and somehow sugar-fied them, but like hard sugar, not that they just put sprinkled sugar, like cut up a grapefruit and then sprinkled sugar on it. It was like they were maybe boiled in just sugar syrup. And kind of like caramelized that way, but then it looked like the whole fruit with like this like shellac on the outside. It kind of reminds me of the orange that I had with that process. So it's not quite confectionery, like candy, artificial. It's more of that thing. Because you are getting this sweet zest too, but it's still zesty. But yeah, definitely more pine in the taste. I was getting the aroma, that dank thing, the orange, a little bit of grapefruit for sure. The lemon that it was like maybe getting the aroma, I don't get on the taste. The grapefruit is a higher intensity than I was getting the aroma. Very zesty aftertaste as I'm talking. Mostly grapefruit, then orange. And it's still there. Like it is a very long-lasting finish. Look how quick I could. I guess some of that was the head, but like 11.7. Like I can sip it, slowly, talk about it, contemplate it. I can also crush this beer, which is dangerous. Earthy element interwoven. The pine is even getting more like resinous specifically. Do they? The dankest and happiest beer ever brewed. That's really all their tasting notes. Every year I read this side. I'm going to skip it this year. But yeah, glad I got a 6-pack. I think the 2024 vintage is, as good as I remember this beer being. So yeah, super glad I got the 6-pack. Have you guys had this one before? Obviously, I'm super curious what other people have to say, as I always am. These beers like this are cool. It's like the Bourbon Counties, their Waldos, pretty heavily distributed beers that a lot of people seem to enjoy trying. So this isn't going to get Goose Island Bourbon County numbers or whatever in comments and all that, but like this is one of those kind of more communal beers that hit the scene. So I'm hoping I can get a lot of conversation going what people think of this year's vintage, because I'm super curious. So yeah, if you've had this, definitely comment section below. Let's have some conversations. Do you like as much as me? Do you think it's a better than most year vintage? Do you think it's not as good as other years? Definitely curious what you have to say. Tasting notes, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Let's get a bunch of conversations going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews, both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.